What's a truth about aging that no one prepared you for? Write in the comments what you think about this. Enjoy the show. Story 1. That you slowly become the person you hated when you were young, and that idealist, left-wing, world-changing revolutionary transformed unintentionally into an intolerant, system-dweller, mortgage payer, right-wing conservative old fart. Story 2. There are so many that you end up with abundant hair growth on your face compared with alarming hair loss on your head. That some gray hairs are a completely different texture to the rest of your hair, more like wiry pubes. That everything hurts and recovery is slow. You trip once and your adult kids call you a falls risk. Every time you get up from a couch or a chair, you make a groaning exhale. You need to pee more often, usually just when you finally got to sleep. You reminisce about the 80s like it was yesterday, but you can't remember what you just walked into a room for. You realize that you don't like people much, so you shrink your world to suit. You try to ensure that you don't end up smelling of cabbage or couch. You finally have the blissful freedom of being answerable to no one, but you don't want to leave your lounge. Story 3, not me exactly, but my mill. How expensive long-term care, assisted living, skilled nursing, etc. is. And it's not covered by Medicare. In some states, you might be able to get Medicaid to pay for your long-term care if you run out of assets. That is, there's nothing left for your heirs, and you can actually find a decent facility that takes Medicaid. And if you think you're going to run out of assets by putting them in a trust for your kids or whatever, you better do that at least 5 years before you need long-term care, because Medicaid will look back 5 years to check for this. Story 4. I have found that the experience of time is situational. As a child, time was long. Christmas took forever to get here. This is because the child has not experienced much time. Remember when summer break from school seemed to last for months? As we age and experience time, it seems to speed up. You wake up after just celebrating Christmas, then blink, and it's Christmas again. I find it's important to slow down and be present in the moment. This can seem to slow time down. Story 5, I am 62, and to be honest, I was doing great until I hit my mid-50s, and it's been a slow, steady decline in my health. I'm a carpenter, and I always worked pretty hard, so I've been in pretty good shape, but wow, the decline happens fast, and none of the older guys told me that when I was younger. Story 6, I'm only in my early 50s, yes. Nobody prepared me for the fact that I had ADHD all my life that went undiagnosed, misdiagnosed. Nobody prepared me for my issues with inattention and lack of focus all through high school, and my 3 attempts at college in the past 30-some years. Nobody prepared me for starting college again a year ago while working full-time. Nobody prepared me for taking initiative to address my inattention issues this year, and finally get a diagnosis by a neuropsychologist that I have always had ADHD. Nobody prepared me to the truth that nobody can prepare me for the future aside from myself. I am the only one that can prepare myself going forward. I'll reply again with an update about what I prepared myself for after I age a bit. /remind me in 50 years. Story 7. Binge watching TV shows is different than it used to be. I could start a show at 8 a.m. and watch almost all day with maybe a break for lunch and 1 bathroom break. Now I'm taking 2 or 3 breaks before lunch. My eyes start hurting, my back will hurt, and I watch maybe half of the episodes I used to. Story 8. People focus on the negative, but at 46 years old, I'm more happy than I've ever been. I feel amazing and energetic. I'm confident, secure, and very happy. That being said, I'm scared because life is too short, and the realization of exactly how short that is starting to set in. Don't be afraid to age. Take care of your body, mind, and soul, and enjoy the journey. It's wonderful. Story 9. Health and athletic ability just falling off a cliff. I'm a former athlete who spent my entire life doing a bunch of sports and physical hobbies. I am paying for it now in the aches and pains department. I am like one wrong move away from a serious injury at all times. Honestly, my knees are trashed. Story 10. If you injure yourself when you're older, it takes longer to heal, and there is more of a chance for lasting damage. I busted my knee when I tripped walking my dog. I'm almost 40, and I think I may have messed my knee up forever. If I took the same fall when I was 20, I might have recovered better. And all your old injuries may start to come back to haunt you. Story 11. The recovery period. I like to say that I can still do almost all the things I used to when I was young, but not as often and usually not 2 days in a row. At 20, I could wake up at 6, play tennis until noon, eat a whole pizza for lunch, wait 20 minutes, then go play a baseball game, ride my bike 20 miles, come home, eat a steak, then go out dancing for the evening and come home at 3 a.m. Then get up the next morning and do it all over. Today, doing that 2 days in a row might kill me if I could even get out of bed the next day. Story 12. I'm middle-aged, and a funny thing is the way younger people get self-conscious or apologize when there is no need. For example, they will apologize for swearing around me or mentioning something like gasp, drinking, or drugs, or sleeping around. I think it's funny. Why would being on Earth longer make me easier to scandalize? I've seen and done things that would shock them, LOL. But to them, I'm a very proper-looking, classy older lady. Story 13. Keep health, get faith in God, spirituality. Have children with a good partner, find love, avoid drugs, alcohol to extreme, exercise 4x a week. Keep learning something new. Paint, make music, keep moving forward. Don't believe everything you read or see on the news. Keep an open heart. Be grateful for every little thing in your life, ... It is all a gift. You only have 120 years, if lucky enough. Spend them wisely. God knows way more than we do. Thank Him daily. Story 14. Being perceived as old. I was fresh out of college and living the life. I'd found a small place in a trendy beachside community. The community included a little bit of everybody, but most especially college kids. There was a frat house nearby. One afternoon, I joined in a volleyball game in the street. They started asking if I was a professor. What was an old fart doing out there? Well, maybe I looked the part. I'd grown a nice beard by then. Story 15. Keeping friendships going is tough. Some of my best friends, known for over 30 years, are tough to see. We all live local to each other also. It's just tough. Life happens. You're drawn in all different directions. Don't get me wrong, we still have a blast when we see each other. It's just very less frequent. It's sad. My advice to anyone reading this is sometimes you need to force it to happen. Invite everyone out for a drink or over for a dinner party. There doesn't have to be a reason. Just catching up is reason enough. Good friendships are worth fighting for. Story 16. Make the most of your 2030ths, whatever that version is for you before you know it. Your 40-plus responsibility and restrictions take away a lot. Don't think I can do it whenever do it. Now enjoy yourself, and when you do become middle-aged, you will be happier for it. Side note, if possible in this economy, try and put some money aside, look after your health, and try and carve out solid friendships that will last decades. Story 17. You will realize that you hate planning meals and making food every single day. It's boring and too easy to fall into monotony. But you have to make lunch again and then plan for dinner again, then make dinner again. And what do you want to eat tomorrow? So you plan for breakfast tomorrow and get up and make breakfast again, and then plan for lunch again. I'm so tired of planning and making food. Story 1828 here. I am aware of the fact that each individual's biology is different, but for most part what I have observed is your hormones change. If you don't work out properly, then UT levels drop as a man. The fat on the body is visible. The muscle mass drops. You generally become slow. Your thinking becomes slow. I read it somewhere that part of the reason you can't learn new things academically and remember like you used to as you age after 25 is because that's how nature programmed you to be, so that you can fuck around and have offsprings. So there is no escape. I was a big-time learner, but after 25, there was all downhill. Can't remember shit. Point. You start giving less fucks. You're comfortable in your own skin. God, I sound like some 50 YO, but guess I learn her it the hard way. Cheers to growing old. Story 19. Healthy living is just one part of living longer. Genetics and environmental influences are the two other puzzle pieces. Healthy living only gets you so far. The last 3 funerals I went to were for people in really amazing shape before their illness, death, cancer, heart attack. Absolutely, do all you can, but denial of mortality isn't helpful as you age. Story 20. No matter how fit and muscular and athletic you stay or become, you'll have to wear reading glasses when someone wants to show you something on their phone. Also, you'll go days without pooping sometimes for no apparent reason, and you'll notice your farts smell like an old person, but it's you. You're the old person. Story 21. You have to prepare for it way in advance. For instance, I have been slowly removing seed oils, garbage carbs, sugary drinks, and processed foods for 15 years. I started taking Niagen 10 years ago. I use castor oil for skin issues and take liposomal supplements for better absorption. Do your own research on longevity now, before you notice problems. I am in my 60s and many friends have had hip or knee replacements, heart issues, and terrible blood work, borderline diabetes. Don't get me started on the surge in cancer diagnoses. I lost 2 close friends in the last year. Big Pharma has a stranglehold on the elderly. Friends and relatives are taking dozens of drugs, and I'm over here taking 1 pill for BP. I still drink, take edibles, and eat red meat, but I also eat loads of veggies and healthy fiber-rich foods, stay active, and remain thin for my height. No surgeries, heart and lungs clear, no joint pain or osteoporosis. Look at your parents and grandparents. What issues do they have? Do whatever you can to mitigate those concerns. It isn't always possible, but you have to try. Be your own best advocate. Help your elderly family members and get involved in their care. I do it because I love them, but the added benefit is that I'm learning a lot about aging and everything that goes with it. Story 22. Wrinkles not on my face, but at 65, suddenly my arms and legs are getting wrinkly. I never laid out in the sun, but am very pale. Now they tell you to wear sunscreen every day, but that was never a thing before. There are a lot of factors here. You'll get more wrinkles if you smoke, and if you have too much sun exposure. You'll wrinkle more if you don't hydrate enough. And of course, there are a ton of expensive products you can buy that I guess might help. But bottom line, if you have very fair skin, your legs and arms will start to show fine lines long before you think it will. Darker skin tones generally don't wrinkle as much. Story 23. The thing that always trips me up is the fact that my mind, or maybe you'd call mentality, ages at about 2/3 the rate of my body. For example, I received an invite to my high school reunion last year, but it contained a typo. It said this was our 50th reunion. But that can't be right because I'm only 45 or so. No, wait, that's not right. I'm 68, all sorts of things like that. Played golf recently after a 20-year layoff. What's wrong with my driver? Why is the ball only going 250 yards instead of 300? Oh yeah. Story 24. You think that when you become an adult, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. Kids don't understand that you're going to be working 40+ hours a week. You think you'll stay up all night, eat junk food, and buy the things you want, but that just isn't the case. You buy the food you can afford, and that is healthy. You go to bed at a decent time because you found out that working on 4 hours of sleep is not something you can do anymore, and you don't have the latest, greatest phone or product because you simply see that it is a waste of money. Adulting is a full-time job in itself. Story 25, using was instead of is when referring to your parents. Even if they are still alive, at some point there is a notable shift. It used to be, my dad is a doctor at X hospital and plays golf at Y all the time. Now it's my dad was a doctor, he used to play golf there, but doesn't anymore. I didn't realize how much of my identity and connection to others passively included what my parents were doing until they stopped doing it. Story 26. Movie plots are recycled. You go to movies and you realize it's just a combination of these 4 movies you've already seen. Teenagers and 20-somethings are so excited while you're just meh. Personalities are recycled. If you don't get married, you'll just date different versions of the same people over and over again. The parts of someone of the opposite sex you don't know that normally attract you no longer excite you because you've dated someone like that and it wasn't that great. Great hair and teeth. Been there, done that. It wasn't a good ending. Also, you get really good at spotting issues that are going to cause problems and disengaging before spending too much time. As a result, you rarely want to stick with anyone at all. The group of people with something of higher value tend to mostly get used by the group of people with lower value. A woman's high school and college body is extremely valuable, so they get used by the boys and men with little else to offer. Later, those men get rich or have valuable prospects while looks fade and bodies sag and the situation reverses. Finally, you can't outrun bad genetics. All those studies that show people who did this or that minor thing like diet or exercise and had better outcomes aren't that affected by small groups with a genetic predisposition. My lazy, ate-like-crap dad had a heart attack at age 65. I ate smart and exercised like a madman and had a heart attack at age 61. Pharmaceuticals are like hitting a screw with a sledgehammer, but they work with all their side effects. When my dad had his heart attack, I should have gotten on statins. I wouldn't be missing 1/3 of a heart. Story 27. I'm 61 and sometimes I feel like this world is not for me anymore. I feel almost like an imposter. For example, I can't find clothes I like that fit correctly. TV is abhorrent. Only old music sounds pleasant. Shoes are uncomfortable. I don't recognize most celebrities or famous people in the news or tabloids. And I don't understand the need for most new and supposedly exciting products. I'm an educated person. I still work and have an active life. I'm not a recluse, but a little at a time I feel the world is moving on without me. I finally understand why, in her final years, my mother only watched movies from the 1950s and reminisced about the past more than she talked about the present. Her world was long gone. Story 28. All those health lessons about diet and exercise matter more and more as you get older. As a young person, your body is much more resilient and has less damage, so poor health habits don't impact them as much. But oh boy, do they start to compound year to year, and suddenly it matters if you eat enough fiber, or that you get enough sleep, or that you get enough exercise. Everyone should do themselves the immense favor and make healthier choices for themselves. Even at 30, it's a huge difference. Story 29. I feel the complete opposite of most of these posts. I was a grumpy fucker in my 20s and had a negative outlook on life. In my late 30s going on 40, I have grown exponentially in a mental aspect. Sure, my body hurts after being abused by extreme conditions and activities, but I still make myself go to the gym every day and try to eat as healthy as possible without being on a fad diet. As one of the posters above said, It's all over once you stop moving. Don't ever get too comfortable that you just sit and rot away somewhere. Try to keep learning new things and trying new activities. Getting older is what you make of it, and how you deal with the hand you are dealt. Your mileage may vary. Story 30. Watching your friends have careers and families and slowly losing touch over the years because their struggles are so different than yours. Bonus pain if y'all deployed together and all you can do is see them on socials. Or just remember them. Hearing a laugh that has just the right tonality and frequency, it's like they're back with you. Or a smell that reminds you of them. The worst is when you can no longer see their face when you think about them outside of a specific memory. It's like losing them all over again. Each time cutting you like shards of glass. Story 31. That it goes exactly the way older people have been screaming that it would and warning us about our entire lives. Someone told me how my health or diet or spending habits would manifest into problems 25 years later. All I've got is 25 years, as if that much time is ever going to happen. Story 32. You start to tolerate rough emotional states, such as crippling anxiety. You will still feel it 100%, but you somehow learn to just live with it. When younger, the feeling was just unbearable and impossible to go through without taking some actions, or it having an enormous toll on your everyday life. Nobody prepared me for this, the quiet tolerance of inner pain. Story 33. Adults teach kids to be honest and share, etc., and then lie, cheat, and steal all the time. It's like the society we've built expects us to be self-interested and competitive in order to succeed, even though we know it's morally better to be generous and cooperative. Like, as soon as we grew up, the world did a complete 180 on how we were supposed to behave. Very unsettling. Story 34. I'm mid-40s. I used to always think aging is a mindset, and for the most part, I still do. I also used to think I wouldn't be someone who lamented about aging. I felt I was better than that, yet here I am in the last year bothered by it a lot. It's not that I even look particularly bad or aged, but we are so surrounded by people selling us things, people getting Botox and fillers. It can be defeating. Story 35. The key to aging healthily is to get your hormones checked and balanced. Sometimes it hurts to move as you get older, but if you don't move and work on strength, you're going to hurt significantly more. The body does want to heal itself. That healing process gets slower as we age. Movement, eating healthy foods, fighting inflammation, and keeping your hormones balanced are keys. If you're a woman over the age of 35, you must be your own advocate at the doctor's office. Get your hormones checked and go on hormone replacement therapy as soon as you can. Perimenopause is no joke. It's often dismissed by doctors. If you don't get it treated, you will lose years of your life to discomfort. Story 36. For me, it's that you lose motivation to do things. You think you will always be chasing the newest travels, the best places, the hottest guys, but I found these things start to become very unimportant later. For me, also chasing relationships, romantic ones especially, but also friendships. I enjoy my alone time more and more, and romantic relationships are absolutely not on my radar anymore. Your wants and needs change. Story 37. Your energy and motivation generally decline as you get older. I never understood it as a kid, but now I do when my parents and other adults around me told me to study hard in school or work on extracurriculars while I'm young, because looking back, I don't think I could even last a week in that grind now, let alone for several years. There are exceptions, though, and more power to them, but I think many of us can agree it's much harder. Once you're older from a motivation and energy standpoint, for example, people going to higher education at age 40 is much harder than age 20. Learning how to drive at age 40 is much harder than age 20, etc. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, be sure to write comments and share your stories.